But remember what we're doing here. They're going after Trump. They're going all Gestapo on Donald Trump because they're terrified that the pro-life patriots, that's you, that's me, all of us, that we might just get representation once again, and they can't even tolerate the possibility. So they're invading the man's home. They're doing whatever it takes. Because we might, all of us, if we get somebody who will represent us, people who do not want the 75, 80 million Americans who do not want a reset, do not want a new world order, are not looking for any of this globalist crap, because we might yet stop their globalist lockdown of the world that they still have in mind, friends. Don't make no mistake about it. This is not over. They're just stumbling and tripping all over themselves, largely because of Trump and the people that he stood with, us. That were standing in the way of them. Trump's famous tweet actually nailed it perfectly when he said, "They're not after me, they're after you. I'm just in the way." And that's exactly right. It's the Christians who Donald Trump represented and represents still that these demons are trying to crucify right now. So the question is, what do we do? Everybody's always asking that question. What do we do about it? Yeah, okay, we get it. It's bad, but what do we do? I'll tell you what we do. We double down on Christianity. We fire up the spiritual option. You know what I mean? By that, the spiritual infrastructure, which is already in place all over the world. I'm talking about the churches. I'm talking about the God-fearing people that put Trump in the White House in the first place. Go to where their fear is. Get that group mobilized once again, because that's what they're so terrified. That's what all of this is all about. Making sure that 2016 never happens again, because they won't have an answer for it. They don't have an answer for it. They can't handle it. They can't handle the message of pro-God, pro-life, pro-country, patriots coming together, standing together against their godless New World Order. So I would say, friends, once again, I'm not a guy who's particularly in favor of false and phony ecumenism, especially in my church, which drops doctrine in the name of peace. But that's not to say that there isn't an ecumenical thing that we could consider when it comes to politics. So whether you're Catholic, Protestant, whatever you are, go to your spiritual leader, go to your pastor, go to your priest, and demand now that he wakes up, because we have this moment where we're seeing exactly what they're doing. We know where this is going. They're destroying country after country after country. They're in the middle of destroying our country. And the question for us to ask our spiritual leaders, the men of God in our lives, in our world, what are you guys doing? What is your plan of action? You going to talk about joy and love again? Is that going to be it? I mean, look around you guys. Look what's happening, fathers, pastors. The whole world is falling into demonic possession right now. How much more proof do you need that maybe it's time for y'all to take a stand? Where are the spiritual leaders in this country, in Europe, in the world? Whatever happened to the Catholic Church? Whatever happened to the strong conservative Protestant denominations? Where are you guys? Why have you gone silent? Why are they silent about everything that matters right now, of all times, right now? Why? The Fourth Industrial Revolution, pastors, fathers, look it up. Google it if you don't know what it's about. Find out what it's all about so you can say something that matters from your pulpits once again. The Great Reset, fathers, pastors, look it up. Because it's a war against Christ, who you claim to be following and representing here on earth. And there's a massive global nuclear war against Jesus Christ going on right now, and you're not saying a word about it. Why not? Okay, you can't handle that truth? Fine. At least, at the very least, walk into your local Target store and just look around. Check out, for example, the College Essentials school supplies section at Target right now, today, this week. See it? Condoms and lubricants for the kiddies going off to school. Remember when it was laptops? We live in a society which is openly encouraging young people, students, to become corrupt, to engage in every manner of promiscuity, and nobody, not even you, pastors and fathers, are objecting. And my question is, why not? Why are you missing in action? What are you afraid of? Well, you say what's going on in the Target store is not my problem. Okay, fine. But inside your own diocese right now, there are schools openly encouraging second graders to change their sex. Fathers, pastors, do you have a problem with that at all?
Here's what they're recommending to teach second graders. Okay, my daughter is in second grade. My daughter is currently 8 years old. She just turned 8. Okay, this is what they would like to teach to 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds in schools.
By second grade, we move on explicitly to gender identity and talk about it again in terms of your head and your heart and your body parts matching up. And does that work for you? What happens if it doesn't? What are the other parts of you that have to do with your gender identity, and what are the parts of you that don't? And the kids draw wonderful self-portraits again, but dealing with all aspects of their identity.
These are folks who are indoctrinating children in sexual fluidity at the age of 7 or 8. This is what they want.
Meanwhile, incredibly, while we're worrying about getting masked up and vaxxed, and we're worrying about climate change, the CDC, the Center for Disease Controls, comes out and says that in order to slow the spread of monkeypox, homosexuals can practice, for lack of a better word, self-abuse as long as they're 6 feet from each other. This obscenity is now finding its way into America's headlines all across the country. And if you read the disgusting article, you'll find out that the CDC, the experts, they're explaining how to safely use fetish gear and sex toys, whatever the heck that is. You see, now these are the same government experts, fathers and pastors, who told you, our religious leaders, to shut down our churches. And you obeyed. How is this not being obedient to the demonic? Tell me. Where's your line in the sand? When do you get involved in this fight? Again, friends, where are the religious leaders in this country? People say, Michael, Matt, the remedy, you're just like, man, you're getting too harsh on these people. I don't want to lead this thing. This is a spiritual war. We showed Tucker Carlson admitting that in the last show. It's a spiritual war. It's a war between good and evil. All I'm saying is, where are the leaders? Where are the spiritual guys? Right? Where's the moral authority? Why are they all missing in action? They've been taking our money in the pews for decades. So tell me this. Why is it up to Ben Shapiro to sound the alarm on what's going on here? And our religious leaders, for the most part, sound like Pollyanna playing the glad game. Now, they claim to follow Jesus Christ. Do they remember what Jesus Christ had to say about those who scandalize little children? Well, those little children in our time, fathers and pastors, they've become the playthings of human devils inside of our own schools, on our playgrounds, in our libraries. And the successors of the apostles cannot be bothered to stand up for these little kids. Millions of them being destroyed, being adulterated, being hacked to pieces. And the best we can expect from you is another sermon about detraction or being uncharitable, calumny, global warming. Even the Pope is silent. When you see what's happening to kids nowadays, should they happen to make it past the abortion doctor, you see how now they're being hacked up in the second grade, kindergarten, maybe even sooner? Where's Francis? Oh, that's right. Francis is a busy guy. He's become a climate change superhero in a white cape, appealing to the most godless, abandoned little children, little generation in history, to save the world from climate change.
Oggi la nostra madre terra geme e ci avverte che stiamo avvicinando a soglie pericolose. Voi siete forse l'ultima generazione che ci può salvare. Non esagero.
Oh, Francis, God help us. Give me a break. I know you sound so woke, and your little handlers in the Vatican are telling you that that's going to play and that's going to go over big in Peoria. But the rest of us, we know exactly where you're getting your talking points.
Young people, you are rallying behind the global wealth tax. To limit global warming, you are demanding to halt to coal, oil, and gas exploration.
No, actually, Klaus, you are calling for this. And then you tell the world that you are doing this for the children. You Nazi thug. And then Francis comes along and he repeats the Klaus Schwab line. And meanwhile, in case anyone's curious, this is what they look like. These wrecked little waifs that Francis and Klaus tell us are going to save the world.
I first discovered drag at 13.
Looks scary. Do you know what I am? No. I'm a drag queen.
So you're gay?
I am. Good question. I came out of the closet when I was 21 years old.
What's coming out of the closet means?
Everybody should try drag at least once. It's really fun.
Even kids?
Yeah.
My advice to you is keep going. Learn your lyrics well.
Yeah, I mean, speechless. What are you talking about? Climate change, global warming. You look at something like what we just saw. That's what they're doing to kids. I mean, Jesus Christ said it would be better to fit them with millstones and toss them into the river, into the sea. You see, it's not... You begin to realize when you look at this stuff, it's not SUVs. It's not air conditioners, Your Holiness, that's heating up the planet. I mean, it's well within the realm of possibility if you look at Your Holy Writ, at Scripture, that what we're looking at right now is God getting ready to torch this whole world, to burn it down, long before the ice caps have a chance to even melt. God is intervening here. And we're at every level now, we're practically begging him to do it.
Prime Minister of New Zealand, she has allowed the most extreme abortion law in the world.
Jacinda
This is the
Ardern.
Prime Minister of New Zealand. Abortions will now be available on demand for any reason up to birth. Sex-selective abortions will be legalized, meaning if you find out you're having a boy and you want a girl, you can abort the baby. The current 20-week limit for disability-selective abortion will be scrapped, and abortion will be available up to birth for disabilities including a cleft lip, a club foot, and Down syndrome.
But have no fear, friends, have no fear. Our brave spiritual shepherds, our leaders, they've got a plan.
Recently, Pope Francis launched a 2-year synod on synodality.
The church needs a synod because we are at our best when we walk together.
In the coming weeks, we will hold several synod discernment sessions.
And we need to become who we are. We need to listen to one another, and we need to listen to what Vatican II called the signs of the times.
And synodality really is a process of listening.
Nobody could possibly be that irrelevant by accident. Nobody could be that obtuse. Nobody could be that ridiculous.
Listening, hearing, discerning, and acting.
Think about it. Abortion, millions dead every year. Gay marriage, the whole institution of marriage destroyed. The family blown to hell. Transgenderism, transsexualism, transhumanism, sex trafficking, drugs, murder, global apostasy, war, a satanic new world order. And this is what we're getting from the Catholic Church.
A worldwide synod? Yes, this is the way God works. As Pope Francis says, he's a God of surprises.
These are no longer spiritual leaders. These are clowns in a demonic clown show. Mission and journey and pathways and accompaniment and any of the other gay little slogans that they like to trot out in place of doctrine and dogma and moral theology. So incredibly sick of it because it's on purpose. It's intentional. It's orchestrated apostasy. So we need to say to these guys, I'm sorry, whoever they are, whoever these creatures are, either man up or get the hell out of our churches. Because here in the real world, this is what we're all dealing with. This is what's coming, friends.
Stel je nou eens voor dat Met één druk op de knop, jouw toegang tot sociale media-accounts kan worden ontzegd omdat je fake news hebt verspreid. Je rijbewijs niet meer geldig is omdat je in een te vervuilende auto rijdt. Je straks geen vliegticket meer kan boeken omdat je al te veel CO2 zou hebben uitgestoten. Of je de toegang tot het OV wordt ontzegd omdat je niet gevaccineerd bent. Het klinkt misschien onrealistisch, maar het is binnenkort allemaal mogelijk. Want de Europese Commissie kondigde in juni 2021 de officiële plannen aan voor een Europese digitale identiteit. Deze European Digital ID is een applicatie waarin al je persoonsgegevens centraal worden opgeslagen. Als je hebt, dan mag je simpelweg niets meer. De testfase gaat dit jaar in en de Nederlandse regering schrijft in het regeerakkoord dat ze het voortouw willen nemen in de ontwikkeling van deze Digital ID. Wie zit hier nou in hemelsnaam op te wachten? En het World Economic Forum betoogt dat een digitale identiteit noodzakelijk is om een aantal redenen.
Maybe it's time to turn back to God? Because that's what the godless have in mind for you. You think maybe it's time? And I would say this, as we say on practically every one of these episodes, do not count out the fact that in the face of such abject evil, we are going to be surprised by many good men who are going to step to the fore. So I'm not trying to disrespect the good priests and bishops out there, cardinals who are out there. There are many good ones who are going to stand up, good and holy men who are going to stand up. Some of them have already manned up. And I say, God bless you, your excellencies, your eminences, fathers, whoever you are. God bless you. Thank you, Archbishop Vigano. Thank you, Bishop Schneider and Strickland and the rest. Thank you, Pastor Pawlowski.
Still a prisoner, but in his own home, Pastor Artur Pawlowski is on house arrest.
I'm very grateful to be with my wife and my children and spend this time with them, but I'm still a prisoner.
And most recently, thank you, Bishop Thomas J. Tobin of Rhode Island, for your courage in tweeting this out. I am convinced that if the church is to prosper in the present age, it cannot hesitate to embrace and support traditional Catholics, traditional liturgies, and traditional moral values. Do not conform yourself to this age. St. Paul warned the followers of Christ in Romans 12:2. God bless you, Your Excellency. Did you feel that, friends, when you heard those words, when you read those words? The words of Mother Church, an heroic pastor, unafraid to speak, casting off the shackles of collegiality and political correctness and wokeness and saying what needs to be said. A few more bishops, a few more cardinals would say that they could change the world. It's exactly right. It's the truth of Christ. We read it from the Bible itself. Do not conform, says St. Paul. Do not conform with the forces of darkness that are seeking to take control of the world, that are seeking to crucify Jesus Christ all over again. This is not just our fight. We must call on our spiritual shepherds like Bishop Tobin, God bless him. Call on them to lead this crusade. We will fall in. We will follow you. We will fight for you. Just finally, call the crusade. Please, for God's sake, call the crusade now. And until they do, we as lay people will make our voice their conscience. That's why we're out here week after week, practically shouting at them, shouting at Francis. We will become your conscience until you do the right thing, until you come back to Christ. No one else will do it. We'll do it. People say, well, it'll never work. It'll never work. They don't care. They're all apostates. Really? Do you have a better plan? Do you have any better ideas on what we should do right now? Because it seems like a pretty good one to me.
Let us also cry out, we who are living stones of the temple of God. Let us cry out with faith to the Lord, so that he may give a voice to his disciples who today are mute, and so that the terrible death for which the administration of the Lord's vineyard are responsible may be repaired.
The Catholic Church, if it woke up tomorrow, if it woke up next week, it would change history. It would knock this globalist demonic cabal on its lower spinal extremity. It would be over. So it's a good idea to try to wake them up. And it's a good idea for us to become Archbishop Fulton Sheen's lay people, the lay apostles, who have the minds, says Sheen, who have the eyes and the ears to save the church, and whose mission, says Archbishop Fulton Sheen, is to see that priests act like priests, that bishops act like bishops, and yes, that popes act like popes. Excellencies, eminences, fathers, pastors, we're waiting. And so is God. Time is running out. Make your stand. Stand for Christ the King right now, and we will follow.